If you can follow this episode without subtitles, your English is probably at the A2 or B1 level. Today, we are going to talk about something that almost every working person in the world has thought about at some point: the relationship between work and life. Not work and rest, not work and fun, work and life, because they are not the same thing. And understanding the difference might be one of the most important things you ever do. Listen carefully, see how much you understand, and at the end, I will ask you something to help you measure your progress. Let us begin. Welcome back to I Speak English with Bob. I am Bob, and this is the podcast where we improve our English together through stories, reflections, and honest conversations about real life. If this is your first time here, welcome. Each episode is designed for A2 and B1 learners. I speak clearly, at a comfortable pace, and I always try to give you something worth thinking about, not just in English, but in your own life too. Today, I want to talk about a phrase that has stayed with me for a long time: work to live, not live to work. There is a very big difference between those two ideas, and for many years, I had them completely the wrong way around. When I was in my mid-20s, I worked extremely hard. I was proud of how hard I worked. I talked about being busy the way some people talk about being healthy, as if busyness itself were a sign of success, a proof that I was doing something important and moving somewhere meaningful. I worked long hours. I checked my emails on weekends. I canceled plans with friends when something came up at work, and I told myself this was normal, that this was what ambitious people did, that rest was something I would allow myself once I had achieved enough. The problem was that enough never arrived. Every time I finished something, there was immediately something else to finish. Every goal I reached revealed another goal just beyond it. I was running on a path that had no end, at a speed that was slowly becoming impossible to maintain, toward a destination I had never clearly defined. And one evening, after a particularly long and difficult week, I sat in my apartment alone and realized something that took me completely by surprise. I was not happy, not unhappy in a dramatic way, just quietly, persistently, undramatically not happy. I had a job, I had money, I had ambition and energy and plans, and I had almost nothing else. My friendships had become thin from neglect, my health was suffering in small ways I had been ignoring, my evenings and weekends, which should have been mine, belonged entirely to work. I had been so focused on building a career that I had forgotten to build a life. Here is the first lesson I want to share with you. Busyness is not the same as fulfillment. A person can be extremely busy and deeply unhappy at exactly the same time. In fact, sometimes busyness is a way of avoiding the question of whether what we are busy with is actually what we want. It's very easy to fill every hour of the day with tasks and never stop to ask, is this the life I chose, or is this the life that simply happened while I was not paying attention? I'm not saying work is not important. It is important. It gives us structure, purpose, and the financial security we need to live. But work is a means to an end. It is not the end itself. The end, the point of the whole thing, is a life that feels worth living. And a life that feels worth living requires more than a full diary and a good salary. After that evening alone in my apartment, I started making some changes. They were not dramatic changes. I did not quit my job or move to a different country or completely reinvent my life overnight. The changes were small and practical, and at first almost embarrassingly modest. I stopped checking my work emails after 7 p.m. in the evening. This sounds like a tiny thing, but for someone who had been checking messages until midnight for years, it felt enormous. I protected my evenings. Not all of them, but some of them. I started saying no to things at work that were not truly necessary. This was harder than it sounds. Saying no at work can feel dangerous. You worry that people will think you were lazy, uncommitted, not serious enough. But I discovered something important. When you say no to the things that do not truly matter, you have more energy, more focus, and more quality to give to the things that do. I started making time for the people in my life again. I called my friends. I visited my family. I had dinners that lasted 3 hours and went nowhere in particular, full of laughter and stories and conversations that had no agenda except the pleasure of being together. And slowly, something that had been absent from my life for a long time began to return, a sense that my days belonged to me, not entirely, not without effort, but genuinely and increasingly. Here is the second lesson. The people in your life are not waiting on hold while you finish your career. They are living their lives right now in real time, whether you are present for them or not. The friendships you neglect do not wait patiently for you to become less busy. They quietly grow thinner, cooler, more distant, until one day you look up from your work and realize that people you once knew very well have become people you barely know at all. Time with the people you love is not a reward you earn after you have worked enough. It is a part of the life you are building right now. Treat it that way. I want to be clear about something. Working to live does not mean working less. It does not mean being lazy or uncommitted or unambitious. Some of the most hard-working people I know are also the people who have the richest, most fullest, most meaningful lives outside of their work. The difference is not in how much they work. It is in why they work and what they protect alongside it. Working to live means understanding that your job is a tool, a very important tool, but still a tool for building the life you actually want. It means being intentional about what you do outside of work, rather than letting the evenings and weekends disappear into tiredness and screens and the leftover energy of a day that asked too much. It means knowing what you are working for, not in an abstract way, in a specific, personal, honest way. Are you working for security, for freedom, for your family, for experiences, for something you want to create? When you know what you are working for, work stops feeling like the point and starts feeling like the path. And that is a very different relationship to have with something you spend 8 hours a day doing. I now finish work at a reasonable time most days. I have evenings that belong to me. I have weekends where I do things I love. Walking, reading, cooking, seeing people, sitting quietly and doing nothing in particular. I still work hard. I still care deeply about what I do, but I no longer confuse caring about my work with allowing it to be my entire life. My work is what I do. My life is who I am. And the second one is considerably more important than the first. Here is the third and final lesson for today. Nobody at the end of their life has ever wished they had spent more time at the office. This is one of those things that everyone has heard and almost nobody truly acts on. We hear it, we nod, we agree that it is wise, and then we go back to working late and canceling plans and checking emails on Sunday mornings. But it is worth stopping with this idea for a moment and taking it seriously. What will you actually remember from this year? Not the meetings, not the deadlines, not the emails you sent at 11 o'clock at night. You will remember the conversation that made you laugh so hard you had to put your drink down. The afternoon in a place you had never been before. The morning you woke up with nowhere to be and nothing you had to do. The people who were there. The moments when life felt briefly and completely like exactly enough. Build more of those. Protect them. Work hard enough to afford them financially, energetically, and in terms of time, but never work so hard that they disappear entirely. Because those moments are not the break from your real life. They are your real life. So that is today's episode. Work to live, not live to work. It is a simple idea. It is not always an easy one to put into practice, but I believe it is one of the most important shifts a person can make, not just in how they use their time, but in how they understand what their time is actually for. Before we finish, here is your self-assessment question. How much of this episode did you understand? If you followed most of the ideas, even if you missed a word here and there, your English is at a strong A2 or B1 level. If you understood almost everything comfortably, you were approaching B2. And if some parts were difficult, that is perfectly fine. That is what listening practice is for. The fact that you stayed until the end is the most important thing. Every episode you listen to is a small step, and small steps, taken consistently, take you further than you think. Thank you for listening to I Speak English with Bob. If today's episode made you think about something in your own life, I would love to know. Leave a comment and tell me, do you work to live or do you live to work? See you in the next episode.